I'm ready to make some money in crypto, some big money. So I got together with my boy, Simpson. He runs one of the largest crypto research companies in the world. They do over $1 million a month. Coinbase is one of his clients. Coinbase pays him, right? So I brought him on here to talk to me about crypto, answer some of my questions I have about crypto, and so help you guys understand it more so we can all make some more money. What up, Ben?
Let's do it. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, man, fantastic, man. I'm glad you're here.
So yeah, we help high net worth individuals invest into crypto. So I've been doing this for 9 years.
Yeah.
I got into Ethereum at $80. I got into Bitcoin in the early thousands. Funny story, actually. I took out a loan. So I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I'm from Australia. If you can hear my accent. I didn't have any money. We were sharing a bunk bed with my brother till I was 18. I didn't have any money. I discovered Bitcoin. I was like, wow, this thing's going to change the world.
Yeah.
So I went down the rabbit hole for like 6 months. I didn't have any money. So I went to the bank and asked them for a loan to buy crypto at 18. They're like, get the out of here. So I went back and I asked them for a loan to come to America for a holiday. So I live in Australia, small town, and they gave me 20 grand, 28% interest rate as an 18-year-old. That day they wired me the money and I bought crypto, and that was 9 years ago, and it changed the direction of my life. And
Still hold on that crypto?
Still holding most of it. Yeah. Unfortunately, throughout, you make poor decisions. Crypto is like littered with so much noise and scams. Like 98% of crypto, I would say, is like a scam.
Yeah.
Like there's so much craziness, man. Do you own crypto?
You know what? I'm going to talk to you about that. I don't own any crypto, but I do dollar cost average into the Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah.
And the reason I personally prefer that is because I can do things like sell cash secure puts to buy it, so I get paid to buy it.
Yeah.
And then I'll sell covered calls against my position. I prefer that for different option strategies, but I'm open to anything.
The thing that triggered for me when I started learning about money and the US dollar and how currency is created, this was when I was 18. I didn't realize that the government has the ability to kind of print more money.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember when I was reading and researching about Bitcoin, and I went home to mum and dad when I was 18 and going, mum and dad, like, look at this thing. Like, do you know that the US dollar gets deflated and your salary doesn't go up? And do you know, like, they've rented their whole lives. I'm like, do you know why you can't get ahead? This is Bitcoin. And they're like, man, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that was like an eye-opening thing for me. I'm like, people don't understand money and they don't understand finance. And Bitcoin was the thing that opened things up for me.
Yeah.
And so many times I've spoken to people and work with clients that like think they missed the boat on crypto. I think they missed the boat on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to $1 million one day.
Really?
Yeah. And I want to make it clear that like Bitcoin and crypto are two separate things, right? There's literally millions and millions of different coins in crypto. Bitcoin is like the asset, right? Bitcoin is like digital gold.
Right.
I think Bitcoin will overtake digital gold one day in terms of like physical gold, in terms of the market cap. There's so many different altcoins. There's millions of coins.
Yeah.
There's millions.
There's like a new coin every day.
100%. And unless you know where to find those coins, you're actually just the exit liquidity for the institutions and the big boys. By the time it arrives on Coinbase or Kraken, you're too late, right? You need to get access to the primary markets is what a lot of people talk about. So that's kind of, where I made a lot of money in crypto, like 9, 10, 20x different returns on coins, is not buying them on the exchange. You've got to buy them months, years before they get listed through actually accessing like the early stage, blockchain and through decentralized exchange. We can talk about it later. I'm happy to share with you guys about how we can get access to those. But that's where you need to buy. Usually when it gets listed, it's already too late.
And that's what your research company.
100%, man. Yeah.
I got it.
And that's what the big boys do, right? Like, you know in the stock market space, like as a retail investor, what's your edge? You're playing against the big boys. So you've got to have that edge, and that's where I've created my edge, and that's where the team and I kind of invest and analyze the market and get those insights.
That makes a lot of sense. One of the things that turned me off crypto is I just feel like there's a big scam or two each year. I remember when I first got into crypto, it was BitConnect, that scam. Remember that?
Yeah.
The BitConnect scam. And then there was just, I've seen so many rug pulls. The FTX, like the arena by my house used to be called FTX Arena. And then after that, I saw them come through with helicopters. They snatched.
They took it off the stadium?
They took the logo off the stadium, I've seen so many of those things that it makes me apprehensive.
Totally. Yeah, and you're not alone, man. I think probably a lot of the listeners sitting at home are probably in the same boat. Like crypto it's confusing. Everyone says they're an expert. There's so many people selling different things, and like you only hear the good stories and the absolute worst stories, right? So it's like there's a few people that made a lot of money on Dogecoin or like Pepe and these meme coins, and then you have a go and you buy it, and then it just all goes down. And you're like, well, this thing, is a scam. I remember actually when I first started trying to figure out this space, like I was watching influencers online. There was one guy in particular that had hundreds of thousands of followers. He was like the guy, and he had all these trading algorithms and blueprints. I'm like, this guy knows his shit. And he had all this like charting stuff, and he was saying that Bitcoin was going to go down. I think at the time it was like 20 grand, it was going to go down to like 8 or whatever. And I bought into that. I'm like, I didn't really know what I was doing. Started listening to him and sold half of my Bitcoin at that point, thinking it was going to go down.
Oh, then it went up.
Man, that thing ripped.
because I bought like a bunch of Bitcoin, like 6 figures worth of Bitcoin at like 19.
Yeah.
But that was just me like looking at the chart, doing like technical analysis. I was like, I feel good about it. And I rolled it all the way up to 60, like 60K. And then I sold it and I thought I was fucking Warren Buffett, you know? And then now it's at 120 or 100 something or now, and I'm like, maybe I should have held.
I think the problem with crypto is that there's so much information, so much noise out there. And that's really what I've been focusing on so much to help people kind of cut through the noise. Like I quit school when I was 17, didn't come from any money. I figured all this stuff out on my own and really self-made to get to this point. And now to like help others and you know, Coinbase as a client, like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got 19.
They pay you for what, research?
So we got research, yeah. So we have like institutional research that we sell to exchanges and brokerages. And then we work with high net worth clients to help them with their portfolio. So we don't take their capital. Yeah. We give them research and insights and coaching and mentoring.
Oh, okay. So you're not like a hedge fund?
Not a hedge fund, yeah. So we charge like a fee for our research, but we don't take any upside. So you're in like an exclusive community. It's kind of like Jeremy's Inner Circle, but like, you know, for high net worth crypto investors.
Got it.
Because I think the thing that I realized, and I used to work for a YouTube influencer. 8 years ago I started. And the thing I learned was that YouTubers and crypto YouTubers specifically, it's the Wild West, man. These guys are getting paid to promote like coins. They're signing non-disclosure agreements. They'll like say to their audience, hey, go buy this thing. They bought that thing like a week ago. And then they're selling,
Remember that scam?
Which one, man? Which one?
But it was all these crypto influencers and finance influencers were telling people to, and it started with a B, where you can make 20% return per month or something off your Bitcoin.
There was like, there was heaps. There was like Luna. There was a bunch of different companies, like maybe around the time that FTX blew up, were offering like 20% yield, like monthly returns. I think like people get sucked into it, man. Like, and you probably see this, right? Like the idea of like making money easy, quitting your 9 to 5, becoming a crypto trader. Like it's just bullshit.
I mean, that's been my experience.
Literally. You know, I remember the first time I actually made money. So like I bought Ethereum at $80. The first cycle back in 2017 where I rode it all the way up, I didn't have a plan. Had no idea what the hell I was doing. But I knew I believed in Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I rode it from literally nothing or $20,000 to 100, 120,000. And I remember sitting there, right, looking at my portfolio, living at home, and mum and dad, you know, we didn't have that money at all. I remember the biggest night of the month was like steak night, and I like having steak at home. And now being over here in America, I'm like, that steak wasn't even good. I'm like, the steak's better.
We got some good steak.
You got some good steak. But anyway, that I remember that feeling of like seeing that money in my account was unbelievable. But what I didn't do was I didn't sell. Because I didn't know that crypto ran in cycles. I didn't know all these things. And I literally wrote it all the way back down.
Wow.
And then like that feeling of like making money
and then losing
it all, man. Like it's like
difficult,
bro. It's like shame. It's like you feel guilt because we didn't have any money. I'm like, I had all this money and then I blew it because I got it euphoric. I got greedy. And that's what so many people do, right? Especially in crypto, you like make all this money and then like, you're taking screenshots, you're buying Lamborghinis, and then it goes down and now you're like, oh shit. So it wasn't until I had a plan and built a strategy, and we actually, you know, over the last 9 years, I kind of worked on this 7-step process, I call it, to invest into crypto where you don't have to trade, you don't have to look at the charts, you don't have to overthink it. And it's by being able to get access to, you know, primary markets, those altcoins before everyone else. And the team that we employ now, like I've got way smarter people than me, like looking at the markets that find these opportunities that allow us to invest. And then we share that, you got those insights back to our audience and followers essentially. So I think that the first thing is what we look at is your portfolio allocation. So like, what are your goals? So for you, let's do it off the riff. So you've obviously got amazing business, you've got assets, you're a finance guy. Like I would say your goal would probably be to use Bitcoin to offset the inflation of all the assets you have denominated in the US dollar.
Okay.
So with the US dollar, we have, you know, obviously inflation. We've got, I think the US is in $37 trillion worth of debt. The purchasing power of the US dollar continues to go down. So you've got to hold assets, right? If you have real estate, businesses, you know, stocks, that's really good. But in my opinion, you want to have an asset that's uncorrelated to that. That is digital gold for me. It's Bitcoin. And the reason that is offset is because it's not owned by anyone. It's completely decentralized. There's a limited supply. So there's only 21 million that will ever be created. Countries like Venezuela use it as a currency because their local currency is inflated so much.
I'm going to ask you about Venezuela.
It's wild.
Later?
Yeah, it's wild. So like, and Bitcoin's been compounding at 40 to 60% every year. Like it's $110,000 right now. I believe it'll go to $1 million one day. The ETF, the Bitcoin ETF was the biggest ETF launch in history in terms of volume. Like this thing is, you know, ginormous in the size of any other sort of asset class. And it follows gold. And Bitcoin actually has a 30 to 40 day lag on gold. Gold's had a ginormous run over the last year.
Crazy,
It's crazy. And you see the chart, you see the correlation of like gold and Bitcoin is like 30 or 40 days behind. Like it has been super correlated. You look at the gold chart, you look at M2 money supply, if you look at the total, money in circulation, Bitcoin tracks both of those two very, very distinctly.
If that's the case, then we're probably, 30 days from a Bitcoin all-time high.
We're strapped in, man. Let's go buy some Bitcoin. So that's the first. I'll be like, what do you got? I think for you, that'd be that. For other people at home that maybe like don't have as much money or like are just getting started, for me, it's about like how much risk do you want to take? Bitcoin is going to be there forever, but how much risk do you want to take in the other altcoins? Because there's all sorts of different altcoins. There's meme coins, AI coins, gaming. But the most important thing is like, you've got to remember, and listeners at home, like if you're buying the asset on a major exchange, you're usually too late, right? So a perfect example, recently, my biggest winner was a coin called Syrup. It was a DeFi project. So it was like decentralized finance. I bought that maybe a year or so ago through Uniswap. So it's like a decentralized exchange. So you're kind of like buying directly into the blockchain.
That's how you do it, a Uniswap.
Correct, yeah. So that's like the primary market. There's no company that sells this token, or there's no brokerages. You can only access it through the blockchain.
Okay.
A year later, I got listed on Coinbase. It was up 1,000% by the time I got listed on Coinbase.
Oh, wow.
And that's where we're selling. So usually for us, like by the time it gets listed, we're usually taking profits and selling. That's when 98% of people get it wrong. 98% of people lose money in crypto because they don't have the data or the research or the access to tokens that the big boys do. And that's where people go wrong.
Got it. So what was step one again?
So the first one is the goal. Next one is like portfolio allocation. So based on your goal, you might be just 100% Bitcoin, right? Or you might be like, hey, I want to have a little bit of a gamble, like I do expect.
No, I'm down again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So sweet. So the next one is portfolio allocation. So for you, it might be like, well, let's put 75% of the portfolio in Bitcoin, and let's just like forget about it. Let's just dollar cost average, keep buying everything.
Before I get into that, is the ETF as good? Because that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, as long as it's the spot Bitcoin ETF. So there's like two types of Bitcoin ETFs. There's like the Bitcoin ETF, like a BlackRock ETF, that's just purely buying Bitcoin on the spot market. Or there's crypto ETFs that are like bundle like 10 different crypto companies.
No, I do.
Perfect. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
cool.
The only difference is you can't obviously sell that for like Ethereum or like XRP or something. Yeah. It's very easy to do it through the ETFs.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you want to buy altcoins, that's where you got to go into. For me, that's when we help our investors through the primary markets.
Got it.
Right. So like one recently that we've been really excited about. I think it's up maybe 200-300% is as an altcoin called Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is it's a derivatives exchange, but the difference is it's not a centralized company. So like you'd go to iBit or any other like normal stockbroker. They take the fees. You pay 1%, 3%, whatever. This exchange, you can run derivatives against it as a trader, but all the volume and the fees that you pay goes back to the token. So if you're holding the Hyperliquid token, the more people that use that platform, the more fees it generates and comes back to the token holder. Okay. And it's been one of the best platforms and best exchanges in crypto to date. It competes with Binance, it competes with the big boys, and you can't access on any exchange because it competes with everyone. That's an example of like, if you want to take more risk, Hyperliquid has been a huge winner for us. And it's an example of a token that you can't get on Coinbase or Kraken. It's in the primary markets.
You use the Uniswap.
Uniswap is one.
Yeah, get to it.
Hyperliquid was available. You actually had to go through Hyperliquid's own exchange to get access to Hyperliquid. There's a range of different like primary market exchanges. We walk you through it kind of step by step how to do it. Yeah. Because you'd be like, what the fuck? You don't have time to all this stuff. Yeah, for sure. So you sit down with us. We go through like, cool, Brandon, like here's our altcoins that we like. Here's what the research says. Sign up here. Click this button. Here's what you get access to. And then we have like ranges that we like to buy. We have a WhatsApp group where we kind of tell you what to sell. All these sorts of things. Anyway, point is today, Hyperliquid is up, I think 2 or 3x since we shared in April. Got listed on Robinhood today. Now the retail come in, and this is where the retail of the exit liquidity. Now we're looking to sell. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it just happens over and over. So the problem most people do is they think, I want to take more risk, and they go buy some random meme coin that everyone knows about. You've got no edge. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like in business, your edge is the stuff the product you build. You've got a first mover advantage. In crypto or any market, if you're late to the party, well then, you're up against everyone else. So goal, portfolio allocation, the risk appetite. So how much risk do you want to take? Yeah. Number 3, we work with like retirees that are like, hey, I just want to like sit back and have some Bitcoin. One of my favorite stories is like an older couple. They didn't have enough money in their retirement. So they loaded up their retirement with Bitcoin to try to like extend their retirement. We got them into Bitcoin. They got into like 40,000, and we helped them with their strategy, helped them with like where to buy, got the brokerage set up, helped them with the exit strategy. That's one of the steps, the exit strategy. I'll talk about that in a second. They took profits. They still have a long-term stack. They took profits. They went and traveled to Europe. The old couple, that was amazing. They come to our like in-person masterminds. They're like, they don't really get crypto, but they're kind of loving it,
because kind of doubled. They more than doubled their money.
Yeah, no, then it tripled. Well, at the peak it tripled, but doubled when they took profits.
Yeah.
So it's like all ranges. It doesn't matter who you are. That's a process we take you through. So there's risk appetite, and then there's the buy strategy. So when do you buy? How do you buy? Like, do you buy now? Do you buy next week? So many people think they missed the boat. Some people don't know when to buy. Like, they overthink things.
Yeah.
So we have like our analysts kind of share like on the daily, like, when do we think things are a good buy period? It was actually last week. Crypto had its biggest liquidation event in history. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Last Friday.
Yeah, mate. 19 billion. Yeah, 19 billion. Bro. Bigger than FTX. It was crazy. When that happens, the fear in the market and the stock market too went to yearly highs.
The VIX.
Yeah, the VIX were crazy. Everyone's panicking. Dude, Warren Buffett, we step in, cool, calm, collected, we show the data. What happened today? Well, they're announcing quantitative tightening is ending next week. They're announcing, a range of things from a macro standpoint over the next few weeks that like backing crypto, risk on assets, and the market's back up. Solana's up 6-7% today. Yeah. We bought. So like it's taking advantage of those dips when everyone panics and having like the insight and the data just to be like, cool, these guys are telling me to buy, like, let's go buy. Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. So buy strategy. One of our clients actually, he got on the Trump coin back in the day. This was about maybe a year ago. So we have like what's called the DGen channel in our WhatsApp. Yeah. So the DGens are like throwing around some crazy stuff. He got in. He's a property investor, busy guy. And Trump sent out, I think like $6. One of our members put in there $6. He got out, I think at maybe like 40 or 50. Made 120 grand in a day. Wild.
That's insane.
Absolutely wild. Doesn't happen all the time. Absolutely not. And I'm not saying anyone at home that's going to happen all the time, but like, I think the hard thing about the buy strategy is you can go buy a bunch of shit. I remember when I started with 20, 30 different altcoins, and you listen to everyone's got their own pick, you start buying a bunch of stuff, but more altcoins doesn't equal higher returns. Now I only hold like 6 coins.
Oh, really?
And I'm really highly convicted in those 6 coins. Got a lot of money in those. Because the hardest part is the next step, which is the sell strategy. So you can make a bunch of money on crypto, but unless you sell, it's all on paper. Yeah. You know what I mean? And as a busy guy, like, you got a lot going on. You have people that are running businesses, careers, trying to know when to sell is hard. You might sell too early and then you see on the sidelines watching it go up, or you might not sell at all because you think it's going to go up too high. Yeah. And then the top of the market, if you look at the last 2 or 3 bull markets, the top 10% of Bitcoin in every cycle lasts there for less than a week. Oh, wow. And crypto tends to run in 4 or 5 year cycles. So you wait 4 or 5 years for like a week on Bitcoin. Yeah. Dogecoin was there for 3 or 4 hours, the top 10%.
I remember that Dogecoin mania.
Yeah. And when the peak of Dogecoin was? Because, Elon was like pushing Doge, right? Yeah. The peak of Doge was the day that Elon stepped out on Saturday Night Live. Yeah. And spoke about Doge. That was the peak of the market. That was the peak. Everybody's in a dump. Even gold, right? Over the last few days, we've seen lines of people buying gold. What happened? Gold was down 6% yesterday. Yeah. 6% of the gold market cap is basically 2 market caps of Bitcoin. So the entire market cap of Bitcoin twice. Yeah. It wiped out in a day. Wow.
Yeah. I owned a lot of gold, the ETF.
Yeah. And it's been on a great run. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Buying futures. I was trading futures contracts on gold. Yeah. I paid a lot of money on the gold run.
Dude, I think the thing like with gold is like gold, Bitcoin property for me. Like that's the assets you want to hold. Bitcoin's just a version of a digital gold. Yeah. It's a store of value. And I think the next step, coming back to the 7 steps, is the tax and structure. Okay. So as a wealthy person, like, you want to optimize your tax as much as possible. People think like you're going to get smashed on the tax. The best thing about Bitcoin right now is I'm accumulating a lot of Bitcoin because you can start to lend against the Bitcoin.
I was going to ask you that.
You can take debt out against your Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So obviously risks involved. Everyone home, like, I'm not saying, go and do this kind of depending on your circumstances, but Bitcoin's compounding at 30 to 50% every year. You can get debt against Bitcoin for like 6-7%. As long as that growth is outperforming, and you're not selling that asset, that's how the wealthy get wealthier. Yeah. Money makes money. If you don't sell your assets, you don't pay capital gains.
That's the beautiful thing, man. Like, you can just take loans against it and there's no tax on them.
Which is crazy, man. And that's the thing about Bitcoin. It's now being seen as like an asset that you can lend against.
For sure.
The US government owns 1% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Yeah, and the last step is, so we've got, I think it's about 6 steps now. The last step is just like the asset allocation, right? So you've got portfolio allocation, like what sectors you want to buy. And then the asset allocation is, specifically what token to buy. Because what we say today, by the time this podcast goes out, like, it will change tomorrow, right? Yeah. So that's where our team comes in. We have like what we call the shift list. My company's called Collective Shift. So we have like token ratings and alerts based on what tokens we think are good and what are not based on the market. And then you basically pick and choose. We help you guide your way through it. But we help people that are not short-term traders. We don't do short-term trading. It's all about building a long-term stack. We think there's probably 12 months to go in this bull market.
12 months what?
In this bull market for crypto.
12 months left?
12 months left.
Okay.
Yeah, we think there's probably around 12 months. We've got Bitcoin sort of follow through on the gold chart, M2 money supply. I think Bitcoin is probably going to go to 150 to 180,000 USD this cycle.
Okay.
Which means we think altcoins probably have a 2 to 3x. The good ones are 2 to 3x to go.
Oh, wow.
But then you've got to get out of the altcoins because if you hold,
You got to get out.
you got to get out.
They might go to zero, right?
But most of them will. Yeah. And I think that's the best thing about what we do is like we're independent, so we'll tell you if it's shit. And most coins are terrible. But most, like, we see clients coming with like 80 different coins, and I'm like, man, what is any of this? Look, at the end, happy to share. We put together a 7-step strategy document for your crew, right? So
You can get it from your Instagram.
Yeah. So if you head over to my Instagram, just go to Ben Simpson AU, DM me the word keto. My team will just like shoot you that 7-step. It's a PDF. You just it's a process. You just fill it out. It's all yours, completely free for
Oh, that's what's up, man. I appreciate that. Oh, okay. Speaking of Trump and crypto, back in the day, he said it was a scam, right? Like, he said it was awful, and now he seems to be a staunch proponent of it. Well, and what do you think changed?
Yeah, I think just knowledge, man. I think a lot of people actually they start out like, oh, crypto's a scam, Bitcoin's only used for the dark web, and then you kind of get used to it, you figure it out, and you're like, wait a minute, this is not like that. Trump wants the crypto to be the home in the US. He's pushing a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So he's pushed forward a number of crypto bills. He signed executive orders. Yeah. He signed an executive order recently for crypto and Bitcoin to be able to be put into retirement funds.
Oh, wow.
Which is a multi-trillion-dollar market, right? So if you think about the opportunity, if Trump is pushing crypto, what that's going to open up to, he's got his son Eric, or family member Eric, going to crypto conferences, pushing crypto. Mm-hmm. They're buying heaps of it, man.
They're buying a lot of crypto. Heaps. I heard they made billions off crypto.
Oh, massive, man. Yeah. It's kind of like, I'm not entirely sure like the actual structure, the way they've done it. Uh-huh. They've got, they started their own coin. They've kind of like done a bunch of different things. But yeah, man, I always say like, watch what people do, not what they say.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, what did you think about him putting out that coin, the Trump coin, then the Melania coin?
Yeah.
And to me, you would know better than me, but it looked like
I know, man.
Rug pull. No,
dude. To be honest, like all celebrity coins have essentially pretty much all gone to zero. Yeah. The Hawk Tour girl. Yeah. Did you see that? That was wild, mate. Yeah. We don't touch the celebrity coins. We don't recommend going anywhere near them. I personally don't buy it. I think he was asked, Trump, actually in like an interview, like what he thought about it, and he kind of like brushed it off like he didn't have anything to do with it. Like the family had something to do with it. But man, the celebrity coins, 99% of the time will go to zero. Everyone's created one. Back in the NFT days, remember the NFT?
Yeah, oh man, I remember it. That's one thing I knew was a scam. People approach me all the time saying, you should come out with your own NFT. Like, I'm not really trying to scam my audience like that.
Yeah, dude. It's wild, man. And so many people get sucked into that, right? It's like, it was ICOs back in 2017. It was eminent NFTs, the metaverse. Do you remember that?
I remember that, man. When they were trying to convince us that we were all going to be wearing Oculuses and doing shit.
So I remember 2021. So I invested back in 2018. That technology was starting to just come out. There were tokens being launched. It wasn't called the metaverse, right? Yeah. Facebook was called Facebook back then. Yeah. We were looking at some data and narratives of what was coming up. We invested super heavy in that space. Probably 4 or 5 different coins. 2021 hits, Facebook renames to Meta. Yeah. These tokens went on like a crazy run, 30-40x. Wow. Crazy. And it was because I had this sell plan that I was able to exit out. And I remember the first time I hit that sell button and I was like getting like $50,000, $100,000 in my bank. I was like, holy shit. And the reason I sold, man, I remember I was sitting there listening to my friends, seeing what was going on the internet. The world thought we were just going to live with these goggles on. Like the world was like, oh, we're just going to live in the metaverse. Yeah.
No, I remember I was in, my friend, Dimitri, he said he's a watch dealer in New York, like a big time.
No, I was still.
Yeah, I got it from Dimitri. He sells watches and jewelry to the people down in the diamond district. They buy from Dimitri, right? So he's like a top big dog. And he was in there him and his brother were trying to convince me that we were all going to be doing shit in the metaverse and buying real estate. And he was trying to convince me. I was like, guys, I don't see it.
Yeah. That is like that for any like new tech is like usually the peak, right? You want to be getting out. And I remember that, man. That was like, it's game over. And I thought it was going to be a great narrative. I thought it was going to be a good investment. I didn't think it was going to be that good. And I remember looking like selling because I got into those projects when everyone's like, this is going to be the future. And I put on the goggles. Some of the projects didn't even have goggles. You had to just log into your computer. Like, how is this the metaverse? This is just like Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? Like, and I sold a lot. And looking back, like most of those projects are just dead now.
I knew that was going to be bullshit.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be bullshit.
But it sucks because I think a lot of people and probably people at home like probably lost a lot of money on that. NFTs. You just get sucked into the noise, and it's the most common thing in crypto we see investors make the mistake of. And just for you guys at home, like, don't listen and get sucked into mainstream media, mainstream influencers, man. They're just like,
you know what? I was saying, so when I sold my Bitcoin, I've talked about this before. I call it the stripper index. So like, you know, I follow some strippers online. Before I met my girlfriend, I follow, you know, we wasn't even together. When they started talking about crypto and stocks and NFTs, I was like, oh man, the market is about to crash. when these like strippers who was just twerking, that's all they were doing months ago. Then they started talking about NFTs and crypto. I was like, yep, that's when I sold all my Bitcoin. And I thought I was brilliant because Bitcoin went down from like 60, like pretty much the top, right? Of that cycle. And then it went down to like 20 or something like that. I thought I was fucking it speaks to what you said.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did the right thing, to be honest. Like, that's a great sell. I think the thing about crypto trades 24/7, and so many people don't understand it, that the cycles run in 4 to 5 year cycles, as I said. So you actually nailed the top. Like,
nice.
You nailed it.
I did.
You did. What happens in crypto is you get like price and value, as you know, is two separate things. So the value of the asset continues to grow and price goes above and beyond.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you want to obviously sell and buy back low, but most people get fearful and buy up here when it's going greedy. You know what I mean? You got to inverse it. So what we say is like, you can make a lot more money if you can crush the cycle. So where you sold, waiting that year or two and then accumulating. Not like you have to pick the exact bottom. It's really hard to do. But if you're going to accumulate, like it's usually a U-shaped bottom. If you're going to accumulate there again and run up, we went back from 20 up to like back to a 100 and 120 really. Yeah. And crypto has these corrections, like really deep corrections, like we saw the other day. It's very common, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's actually normal for crypto. The reason being, there's so much trading and leverage that gets caught up in crypto that like people just get wiped out, and that's the opportunity.
Yeah, because some people are buying on leverage. That's the thing.
Heaps of leverage, crazy.
People got wiped out just from one day.
Oh, dude, $19 billion of liquidations, man. That's a lot of money.
Basically, you want to stay away from the hype and stay away from celebrities coins, because I heard like most of the retail investors who bought Trump coin, like,
most people lose.
Down.
Most people lose. It's honestly the reality with most altcoins. You know, and I think like, again, where I've made most of my money in crypto is buying and holding assets with fundamentals. So like hype that I said, ETH at $80, like super strong project. People who think they've missed the boat, every cycle, the altcoins that outperform Bitcoin in the first half of the bull market continue to outperform. People think, oh, it's already ran up, I'm too late, I'm gonna go try and find something else. It's a fallacy. We've done the numbers. A lot of the best projects, Solana, ETH, you know, Sui, will continue to outperform based on how they've gone in the first half.
Gotcha.
So I would say, like, for people at home, like, just accumulate Bitcoin, get the good assets, and then if you want to get into the primary markets, that's where it gets a little bit more advanced, but that's kind of where you can really take a bit more risk, and that's where the opportunities are. You've got to get in before everyone else.
What happened with Argentina? Well, their economy was falling apart. Then they put out their own coin, and it was like a immediate rug pull.
Yeah, man. So the reason why Bitcoin's so valuable is because it's decentralized, right? No one controls it. No one owns it. No one can take it away from you. It's yours forever. With these like centralized coins, anyone can create a coin. Like you could create a coin tomorrow. And you could hold 80% of the supply, get 20% of the people to buy the token, and then just dump it all. That's a rug pull, right? So you've got to be careful with any of these tokens that like, so many of them, it's called the tokenomics. So it's like how the token works behind the scenes. It's like it's like a stock.
Right.
How does the token work? Who owns the tokens? And then who has control? And that's where so many people go wrong. They buy tokens not knowing there's like a huge amount of supply coming in, or someone owns like 50% of it. And that's where they can just rug pull and like you can lose a lot.
So the government owned a lot of that token.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details specifically of their own token, but any government token, like I just like, you know what I mean? People were worried about, like, you remember CBDCs? People were like worried about, I'm sure, the central bank digital currencies. People were like, oh, what's the difference between like a coin that the government owns and Bitcoin? Well, it's like the government owns the coin. Like that's the point. That's why I would never touch it. The reason I got into Bitcoin is because I have my own bank. I am my own bank. No one can ever take it off me. You know? So anyone that's like launching a coin that's like from a company or a government or whatever, it's like, I'm not interested in any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that kind of stuff like erodes trust, you know, in crypto in general. So here's where like conspiracy shit goes in. I want you to debunk it, you know. So Argentina rug pulls their fucking own citizens, and their economy is collapsing. Trump gets he gets really bullish on crypto around the same time. And now he's giving them like a $20 million bailout, $20 billion bailout, and it might go up to. You're not American, so you don't have no horse in this race. But like, is there a correlation there? I don't know. Like,
I don't know if he had anything to do with the token.
I don't think so.
But I don't know. All I do know is that like
Why would we trust them with $20 billion if they just
a lot of money, man.
If they just rug pulled their fucking own citizens?
That's a lot of money.
That doesn't buy.
That's crazy. All I know is like places like Argentina, Venezuela, like their local currency is just like, man, you like line up for a loaf of bread and it's like between the minute you've waited in line, you've like lost half your money. That's like, imagine that here. That's crazy. That's hyperinflation. So when your local currency is like not worth anything, that's where Bitcoin is now being used, because Bitcoin is that currency that's not owned by anyone. It's deflationary, so there's a limited amount, and people use it as a currency in those countries. We don't have the problem here because like we don't have a problem with the US dollar, right? In countries like that though, yeah, like what else are you gonna buy? Imagine earning your wage in pesos. Like you could work your day's wage, and then by the time you've ended work, it's worth half. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't want the local currency. So that's why people start to, and they're using a lot of like Bitcoin and different things there, because you've got to, like, how would you feed your family? How would you support, you know what I mean? Like,
and they really use it as currency, because every time it seems cumbersome to actually use any crypto as currency. At least from my perspective, from what I've seen, are they able to like use it effectively, like as a real currency?
Yeah, so I would say that the reason like I don't use it as a currency is because it's like your gold, right? Like you don't sell your gold, go chisel some gold off it, like absolutely not, right? Because we know it's gonna be higher in the future. But for countries like that, they've kind of set up ecosystems where it makes it easier for them to use through like, you know, literally from mobile phones, you can like have digital wallets to send money. But one thing that's moving more is stable coins. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with stable coins. Yeah. So the US dollar stable coin, like USDT, that is becoming far more prominent in countries that, you know, don't have access to their local currency because of the value, and they can just use like, you know, a debit card. Like, you know, on my phone, I've got like, you know, my crypto wallet, I can just spend stable coins. So that's kind of like becoming more, I guess, like people are using that a lot more than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's like, for me, it's not a currency.
Yeah, I don't think they should call it cryptocurrency, right? Because it's not good at being currency.
Yeah, totally. And that's where like Bitcoin, we always teach people Bitcoin is its own asset, right?
Yeah.
All the other cryptocurrencies, again, 98% of them are just like crap. You know what I mean? Like there's only a few that have kind of done anything valuable. Polymarket is a big company. I'm not sure you heard of Polymarket. Yeah, that's that just got listed on the Nasdaq, I think. But that's a crypto project. You know, that's actually, it's built on Polygon, and it's built on the blockchain. So it's like a betting app.
That's why they call it Poly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never used it.
Yeah, so it's like the I think it's now nearly the number one, like, you know, most used.
Is it legal in the United States?
Yeah, it is now. Yeah. It's funny because like it's a prediction market, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the most trusted prediction market in the world because of the blockchain. There's no intermediaries. And it knew Trump was going to be elected before Trump got elected.
Yeah.
So they did a whole like, you know, investigation on this thing, and they're like, take a look, man, like this is the blockchain. Like the blockchain is an immutable ledger, like you can't change it. And now it's like one of the most valuable companies in.
Wow.
You know.
That's interesting. Did some stable coins fucking crumble like over the?
Yeah. So like, again, I think it's important for everyone to remember at home is like anyone can create a coin, and that's the hard thing, and that's where people go wrong, because you hear things like, oh, I'm gonna buy that thing, like influencers like talking about it. The USDC and USDT are the two biggest companies that run stable coins. I wouldn't go anywhere outside of those two. Tether is like one of the most profitable. I think it is the most profitable company in the world. I think it's got like 20 employees, and it's I can't remember how, like $100 billion company. Like it literally prints money because people buy it, and then it creates like digital currency to back it with the US dollar. So they have like tens of billions of dollars, and then they buy treasuries, they buy all these things. They're just like, yeah, it's crazy. Wow. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, today the CEO of Binance got pardoned by Trump.
Yeah, that was today.
What's that about?
It's funny because I'm like, coming from Australia, I live between the US and with that company. Yeah, but I'm kind of like independent. There's some wild shit that goes on here, mate. You know, like,
I'm saying, like, can you shed some light on that? Because that seems sketchy to me.
Yeah. So Binance is one of the biggest companies in the world, and CZ, the founder, kind of went down through before Trump got elected. I think it was the Biden era. He got done. I can't remember exactly what he got done for, and I think he had to go to prison for 6 or 12 months.
Yeah, something like that.
He got pardoned today. I don't know the exact reasons. I don't even know if they share why, but like Binance would be one of the most valuable companies in the world. Like BNB, the Binance token, is like the number 6 on the entire market cap. Like, wow, they would employ so many people. It's probably made people a lot of money. Who knows? You know, CZ's very like high up in the crypto circle in the world.
Yeah, Trump's so into crypto. It seems. I mean,
what Trump did really well, I think, before he got elected, he got a lot of the crypto people on side. You know, that's what the other guys going for presidency didn't realize. Yeah, Trump knew that. and he got the crypto people on side. And now he's done so many things for the crypto ecosystem. He wants the US to be home of crypto. I believe with the debt that they have, they're not going to be able to pay out $37 trillion worth of debt. It's so hard. I reckon they're going to try and accumulate Bitcoin. They can't do it at the moment. They've got to get through a bill to pass it. They already own 1%, but I reckon they're going to try and accumulate more Bitcoin to try and bring down the US debt. Honestly, man, crypto is the Wild West. And I think just bringing it back to people home, how to navigate crypto. It's unlike anything else. It's digital. It trades 24/7. There's millions of different coins. I think the key things that I would stick to is have a plan, stick to the plan, don't get shaken out by the volatility. The reason you can make so much money in crypto is because it's so crazy. People come in and they complain. I'm like, oh my God, I'm down 10%. I'm like, yeah, bro. I rode my coins down 80% before getting up 1,000%. One of my biggest trades was syrup, but Maple I spoke about, ran it up 5-6x, took some profits and went down 80%. And I had that much conviction from our research and our data. Everyone was panicking. Everyone thought it was going to zero. I loaded the truck up and bought so much more because we knew about the coin, where most people just have fear and they panic because they
or they don't know what they're even buying.
No, that's the problem, man. And they don't know what they're buying. And if you bought a stock and it went down 80%, you'd be like, holy shit. But crypto, that's the opportunity. If you can buy the fear, buy the uncertainty, and have conviction, and that's where, as I said, I spend $300,000 a month on my team. They give me the best insights to invest with, and then we share that back with our clients. They can invest. Because one of the biggest questions is well, if you're so good at investing, why do you run a research company? That's a great question. I thought with the insights that I have, and I'm winning and making life-changing money with crypto, if I can bring select people on that I like and they want to be coached by us, and they make money too, well, then we can both make money, and then with the profits I can buy more crypto. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we don't take people's money. We don't do paid promotion. We don't do affiliates. We don't do anything. We don't take a clip anywhere. Purely independent. We only make money from our clients paying us, and if we don't do a good job, they leave. That's the end of it. And that's kind of how we've grown, and that's why we've got an amazing community. We've got our mastermind tomorrow here in Miami. So
in Miami?
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Man. For our clients coming in. And then we've got, Sydney. So we go between Sydney and Miami. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Miami seems to be a crypto city. I would imagine. Is in the United States, is this the main city?
Yeah, it's kind of the three are New York, Miami, and Austin. And as an Australian, I like Miami's kind of nice for the weather, and it's kind of
especially in the winter.
It's hot out here. Yeah, 100%. Austin is kind of cool. Yeah, New York's epic. The energy, the hustle. But I grew up on a basically 3,000 people town back in Australia. On an island called Tasmania, and I need grass, man.
So New York is going to be intense for someone from a small town.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But I think the US is it drives so much of crypto. People forget that the world doesn't revolve around crypto, right? It's macro finance, it's stocks, it's interest rates, it's gold, it's where risk on, risk off. It's all these sorts of things that we've got to look at. And here in the US, we get so much great data and insights that give us that advantage. And but we've got clients from around the world. We Germany, New Zealand, Canada. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yep.
Started in 2000.
About then, it went
right after the financial crisis.
Yep.
Right. It was a response to the financial crisis. I'm assuming we don't have data on what happened to crypto or Bitcoin during the financial crisis.
No,
I guess we can speculate.
I mean, Bitcoin was born out of the financial crisis. Actually, in the first block that's built on the blockchain, it's actually got the newspaper clippings of the financial crisis in the blockchain. Yeah, it was crazy, right? So it's built for that. Would Bitcoin hold up in a proper financial crisis? I think it will go down.
Like everything else.
Like everything else. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Bitcoin's going to soar in a financial crisis. Everything's going to go down. But in that sort of world where everyone's going panic stations, everyone's just getting bonds and cash and craziness, I think Bitcoin and gold would hold up reasonably well.
Yeah.
The altcoins, not a chance.
Yeah, crash.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And that's why you've got to be careful with the altcoins. You can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot. So that's kind of why you got to get in and get out at the right time.
2008, you seem very, I don't know if you really remember that vividly.
Yeah, I'm 27.
So I wasn't remember that shit. I remember that shit. I was 24 when that happened. It was intense.
Crazy,
bro.
man. Yeah.
It was intense, and it seemed immediately.
Totally, man. And I think a lot of people you got to you kind of got to be ready for it. But I think some people buy too much into the fear. They always live in fear mode. They're those guys are crash is coming. It's yeah, well, it probably is, bro. But you can protect yourself at that point and understand that you can still take risks now and make the most of this opportunity.
Yeah.
But when that time comes, you've got a plan. That's where my top client's got 110, 120 million in crypto. He runs a huge organization back home. For him, it's about risk protection. So it's not just betting on more and more altcoins. It's okay, when things go wrong, how do I protect that? so you can set like, obviously, trailing stop losses, sell triggers. You can do a lot of it, options, puts. Like you're going to have a lot of different risk strategies. But I think while Trump is in the seat and we're seeing like interest rates come down, and like David Morgan said that next week that the FOMC meeting that quantitative tightening may stop. If that stops, man, risk on assets, I think you're going to do really well.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's definitely in the short term. You think we got another year of this Bitcoin bull run?
I think so. I think people buy into and people at home that are in crypto probably know the 4-year cycle. Like crypto tends to run in 4-year cycles.
Okay.
That's, in our opinion, been blown out of the water this year. The reason being is we've never had institutional investors in crypto before. The ETFs, governments, countries buying huge amounts of crypto and Bitcoin specifically. MicroStrategy owns they're like one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. Yeah. They're a software company. So we haven't seen that level of institutional buying before. So we believe crypto is going to continue to follow gold, the M2 money supply. We think it's most likely going to top somewhere like middle to late next year. And, we just implement the sell strategies to make sure we're taking profits on the way up. We don't get too late. And if Bitcoin does top out late next year, I expect most of the good altcoins to do really well. Yeah.
Yo, where can they find out more about, you said Instagram, they can get the free?
Yeah, I'd love for your audience to check out that document I put together for your audience. So yeah, head over to my Instagram. It's just Ben Simpson AU. DM me the word keto. KETO, and then we'll send you that 7-step strategy document, and send it across. And thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, bro.
Thank you so much, bro. All right.